Gold mining exploitation on the island is not something new. From when the Spanish colonizers came to the island more than 400 years ago to both state-owned and multinational mining companies, the Dominican Republic has been a source of immense amount of wealth for the global north. The Barrick Gold, which is going to be the protagonist of today's episode, is a Canadian mining company with operations around the world, and it is one of the most horrible mining companies in the world that you don't know about. And there's a reason why there's so little information about this mining company available to the public, and why, while being one of the biggest mining companies in the entire world, is so unknown for a lot of people. We will discuss why is that later in this episode. Let me know in the comments if you've heard about the Barrick Gold before, and while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe. I want to take this opportunity to thank my subscribers for supporting this project. We're finally more than 1,000 subscribers, and as always, I read some of your comments at the end of each episode. Let's continue. The Barrick Gold has mining operations in the Dominican Republic, causing extreme harm to the environment in the country. And even though the Barrick Gold is not the only multinational mining company operating in the Dominican Republic right now, like they're not even the only Canadian mining company right now. We also have Unigold, Colmidon, Falcon Bridge, etc. They all deserve attention, but in this episode, I will focus on the Barrick Gold, especially on its operations in the Dominican Republic and the harm that this Canadian mining company is causing right now. Now let's talk about the Barrick Gold's brief history and its operations in other countries. Before we continue to talk about the Barrick Gold in the Dominican Republic, let's talk about the history of this Canadian mining company operations in other countries. And just a quick parenthesis, there's a reason why I am mentioning that this Canadian mining company is Canadian, and also the name. There's a reason for that, because I want you to never forget it. I want that information to be ingrained in your brain. I want you to reach a point that you might forget everything when you get dementia when you're 90 or 100 years old, but that you will never forget the name of this mining company, okay? So, that being said, let's continue. The Barrick Gold is a Canadian mining company with its headquarters in Toronto, Canada. Of course, the current CEO since 2019 is the South African Mark Bristow. And just a quick note, he ended as CEO of the Barrick Gold when the company bought his own mining business, Rand Gold Resources, in 2018, which mines were in Mali, Democratic Republic of Congo, and Cote d'Ivoire. Everything is connected. Keep that in mind. The Barrick Gold is a huge company with operations in more than 12 countries, and its operations have always been characterized by human rights abuses, environmental disasters, corruption, and destruction of communities. For example, according to Amnesty International, between 2008 and 2009, more than 1,000 indigenous people were forcefully evicted by the Barrick Gold with the help of the local police and the mine's private security guards in Porgera, Papua New Guinea, including the burning of more than 100 homes, police brutality, death threats, and even sexual assault and rape, according to the victims of the forced evictions. Extreme contamination and destruction of the natural resources in the area, and more than 95% of the gold mines in the country are owned by the Barrick Gold at the time. Also, between 2015 and 2017, the Barrick Gold spilled more than 1 million liters of cyanide into the rivers near city of San Juan in Argentina. In 2014, residents of the Northwest Tanzania sued the Barrick Gold over torture, killings, and displacement of hundreds of families around the North Mara mine. They all have in common not only human rights abuses and forced evictions, as I mentioned before, but also severe contamination and destruction of natural resources. The type of mining techniques the Barrick Gold uses are extremely damaging to the environment, not only because it literally destroys natural landscapes, but also because it uses a large amount of water and dangerous chemicals which poison the water resources with, for example, cyanide. And other chemicals that they use are arsenic, cadmium, lead, and mercury, which are commonly used in the gold mining process. And these chemicals also pollute the air. And I'm going to talk in more details about this process later in this episode. The Barrick Gold is one of the most horrible mining companies in the world. But if Barrick Gold is such a big and powerful company, why are they relatively unknown? That's intentional, that is by design. As we can tell on their website, their main PR strategy is to show a well crafted image of a company that cares for the communities that they have operations on. And also, like a common PR strategy that all mining companies engage with is greenwashing by saying that they do ethical, environmental conscious mining, which is a lie. Like, ethical or environmentally friendly gold mining doesn't exist. That is a greenwashing lie. I want you guys to keep that in mind, okay? I'm gonna say it again. Ethical or environmentally friendly gold mining doesn't exist. A similar strategy is done by mining companies in the Democratic Republic of Congo, for example. And that was something that I talk about extensively in my Democratic Republic of Congo episode. You can go check it out as well. And I'm going to include the link to that episode here in this episode's description. And while you add it, don't forget to subscribe and tell me what you know about ethical mining. And if you think ethical mining is possible, why and why not? Now, let's talk about the history of the Barrick Gold in the Dominican Republic. So, the Barrick Gold is actually a very old mining company. They were founded in 1983 by the Canadian businessman Peter Monk after he decided to take his company Barrick Resources away from oil and gas and solely focus on gold. The current president and CEO of the Barrick Gold, as I mentioned before, is the South African businessman Mark Bristow, and according to his profile in the Barrick Gold website, and I quote, following the merger of Barrick and Rand Gold in 2019, Mark Bristow, he created Rand Gold Resources in 1995. Mark restructured and strategized Barrick, and within months was the prime mover in the combination of the Nevada assets of Barrick and Newmont, creating the world's single largest gold mining complex, Nevada Gold Mines, majority owned and operated by Barrick. I have to be honest, to come up with a simple, cohesive, summarized account of the history of the Barrick Gold wasn't easy, because the thing with a lot of these mining companies is that they're part of a complicated network of mining companies that just buy each other and constantly merge and change their names. And I think they do that not only because of how capitalism works, like that's something that is very common in the corporate world, that companies buy each other, but also it's a way that is kind of harder to track the resources and track the profits and things like that. Keep in mind that the main one and the company that holds most of the power and the phase of everything that is happening is the Barrick Gold. So the Barrick Gold started to build their mining project in 2018 in the Dominican Republic during Leonel Fernandez's second term as president of the Dominican Republic, which was 2004 and 2012, and officially started operations in 2012 in Pueblo Viejo, located in Sanchez Ramirez province, which capital is Cotuí, located in the heart of the Dominican Republic. These geographical facts are extremely important, so keep them in mind as well. So, the Barrick Gold owns 60% of the mine, and Newmont Corporation owns 40% of the mine operations. Newmont Corporation is an American gold mining company based in Colorado, founded in 1921. Placer Dome Incorporated was a mining company that was operating in Pueblo Viejo, and in 2006 the Barrick Gold bought all of its assets, including the mining lease that was already established at the time with the Dominican state. The contract between the Dominican Republic and the Barrick Gold has been controversial from the very beginning, which includes several rewritings and adjustments that, of course, always end up benefiting the Barrick Gold. Very generous tax exceptions, the Dominican Republic assuming a lot of the expenses, and the Barrick Gold keeping most of the profits of the mining operations. The Barrick Gold mine in Pueblo Viejo, Dominican Republic, is one of the largest gold mines in the world, where 15 tons of gold are extracted each year, according to France 24 news agency. But this immense amount of wealth is not perceived by the Dominican population. To add insult to the deep injuries the Barrick Gold is causing to Dominican communities in the areas where they operate. So now let's talk about how is the Barrick Gold destroying Dominican communities. Before I continue, we need to keep something clear in mind. And I'm going to hold your hand while I say this. Environmentally friendly mining doesn't exist. That's a greenwashing lie. Even like the parameters that these mining companies create together with government agencies, they don't meet them either. To understand how harmful Barrick Gold mining operations are, we need to talk about how gold is extracted and what is tailing dam. To extract the gold, as I mentioned before, chemicals like arsenic, cadmium, lead, and mercury are part of the process, as well as millions of liters of water. A tailing dam is a dam where all the chemical waste that is produced by the mineral extraction process is dumped into. Both the mining and the tailing dam are open air, meaning that they don't only contaminate the land and the water of the communities where they operate, but also they contaminate the air. We're talking about a huge lake-sized pond full of a combination of dangerous chemicals on a Caribbean island where we also have hurricane seasons.
Leoncio Ramos is a farmer and grew up in this valley.
Before the Barrick gold mines came here, we lived happily. We lived well. We were like millionaires, and today we lack everything.
According to residents in the area, the mining company takes advantage of the rain and nights to place clandestine pumps to drain the tail dam, and the Barrick Gold also adds lime to hide waste that is dumped into the rivers. The contamination of the water is so bad that those who live in the area have no other choice but to get small containers of water per family per week, provided by the Barrick Gold, which is not enough. So these families are forced to buy extra water with their own money, adding more economic burden to people who have seen their quality of life and livelihood destroyed by the Barrick Gold. The Maguaca and El Yagal rivers, which were their main sources of drinking water, are completely poisoned by the Barrick Gold.
Nosotros teníamos 21 cañadas y dos ríos principales. Uno era el Yagal y otro era Maguaca. Era una agua cristalina, podía tomar agua en cualquier cañada que usted se encontrara. Después que llegaba, nos elimina esas 21 cañadas. Nos daña los ríos y ahí instalaron lo que es la presa de Pola del Yagal. Hoy está llena de desperdicio, de sustancias tóxicas de la Barrick. Desde el 2011 nos comenzamos a reunir con Barrick por la problemática del agua. En un momento determinado tenía una cañada muy definida que es Cañalejo, donde nos abastecía de agua. Esa se secó. Ahí acordaron darnos agua en botellones. Comenzó Barrick. Después que ellas mismos determinaron darnos el agua, nos quitaron el agua, porque ya en la red social le hacía daños a ellos, porque ellos habían confirmado que ellos hubieran dañado el agua. Tuvimos que hacer una protesta en la calle desde las 2 de la mañana hasta las 12 del día, para que nuevamente, entonces a través de la gobernación de Cotuí, nos comenzaron a dar el agua. Y hasta este momento, nosotros que éramos ricos de agua, tenemos más de 10 años que nos están dando agua en botellones. 3 y 2 botellones de agua que nos dan 2 veces a la semana. 2 botelloncitos de agua no le dan para cocinar, para tomar. Y cuando los niños nacen, recién nacidos, hay que bañarlos con esa agua, porque todas las aguas que usamos aquí realmente no sirven. Por eso no tenemos animales, porque no tienen dónde tomar el agua. Los ganados han ido muy poco, desapareciendo. No tenemos aves en el patio ya también, porque eso también ha ido desapareciendo. O sea que nosotros, a través del agua, hemos ido perdiendo la mitad de la vida.
The Dominican Academy of Sciences reported back in 2012 that the Barrick Gold operations were contaminating the Hatillo Dam. In 2014, tests on residents in Las Lagunas, Los Naranjos, La Piñita, and La Cerca, villages located near the Barrick Gold mine in Pueblo Viejo, found high levels of cyanide and other heavy metals in their urine and blood, getting these toxic metals via respiratory and drinking contaminated water. The Barrick Gold has brought nothing but contamination and misery to the residents of the area. The Barrick Gold has created a big-scale toxic waste disaster that has made some communities in the area unlivable. Most of the population are farmers, and they have lost their livelihood because of the contamination. The land farm is completely contaminated, and the cattle and the crops are just destroyed. Because of chemical vapors and water contamination, more than 85% of the residents have severe skin diseases, and more than 60% have severe respiratory illnesses, which include symptoms like painful skin sores that almost never heal, constant headaches, fever, and dizziness. They describe the smell as a bad chemical smell, like a mix of gas and sulfur, which also causes nausea and vomiting on top of the respiratory problems. A huge increase in illnesses, including cancer and miscarriages, have also been reported by the residents in the area. The residents can't even sleep, sometimes because of the noise of the mining operations at night. And all of this is marked within a framework of forced displacement and violations of the human and civil rights of the residents in the area surrounding the Barrick Gold mining operations in the Dominican Republic. And even when the families are forced to leave, they're not given enough money for their lost livelihoods and lands, or even the option of places to relocate to. And when they protest, they're always met with violence, censorship, and having the water the Barrick Gold provides to them mysteriously delayed. All of this with the support of several Dominican governments throughout history, because only corporations and the state have a monopoly on violence.
Esto ha sido un desastre, o sea, el ejército ha venido a avasallar, la policía aquí está acabando, aquí están partiendo gente a los manos, aquí no se importa quién es, cada quien, estamos tratando de mediar y bueno, aquí ya estamos. La comunidad obviamente ha dado respuesta, porque si la comunidad está siendo avasallada, la comunidad va a responder. Y bueno, ahí estamos, están partiendo gente de los manos, intentamos evitar esto, pero...
Johnny, ¿cómo comenzó la cosa? Cuéntame.
No, la policía, cumpliendo orden de la Barrick Gold, vino aquí a la comunidad e invadió la comunidad. Aquí hay militares, aquí hay cientos de militares, entre el Poliguardia del Ejército y la Policía Nacional, diferentes unidades contra motines, y así lo miren cómo está. Eso es lo mismo. Aquí se están tirando piedras, aquí se están tirando bombas, aquí están acabando. O sea, intentamos evitar esto, intentamos dialogar, pero las autoridades fueron a matar, vengan a acabar con lo que hay que acabar. Y así estamos. O sea, la comunidad está siendo asediada, hay niños en casas, han entrado, han tiroteado casas, obviamente con bombas de lacrimógena y tiros y ya ustedes pueden aumentar. Así estamos.
Johnny, ¿tuviste algún arma, alguna piedra en manos de las personas?
La comunidad está desarmada, la comunidad está, incluso iniciamos este proceso con la mano levantada, en señal de que no tenemos armas. Nosotros estamos aquí solamente con el deseo de que se nos escuche, pero lamentablemente así es que estamos. Así estamos esta
Sí,
cosa.
señores, este es el Estado de Derecho del que nosotros vivimos, en que la gente pacíficamente
se le hizo ver al presidente de la República que esta situación iba a pasar. Mire, escuchen cómo estamos aquí. O sea, es todo un asedio, se le ha hecho saber, se habló por la prensa nacional y sin embargo miren la consecuencia. La respuesta de la señora Juana Barceló es que ella entraba aquí sí o sí. Es decir, ella es, la Barrick Gold aquí es autoridad total. Ella dijo que entraba sí o sí aquí y yo todavía lo muestro. O sea, aquí están entrando, acabando con la comunidad. Así estamos nosotros.
El Ejército Nacional, la disposición de la Barrick Gold con armas de alto calibre, disparando a la gente, a diestra y siniestra, gente sin nada en sus manos y el ejército disparando. Esto está lleno de gases lacrimógenos, de bombas, de gente persiguiendo. El padre Johnny, como vemos, está herido. Y la policía persiguiendo a la gente sin un arma en la mano. O sea, esto es un abuso, es un atropello. Así que el presidente, yo creo que responsabilizamos al presidente por haber autorizado, porque el presidente de la República Dominicana es el que ha autorizado esta acción violenta.
According to residents in the area, sometimes they are even militarized. This is old-fashioned neocolonialism where the Dominican government is the executing hand of the Barrick Gold wishes. I find it so upsetting and funny when you see these countries like Canada complaining about immigrant and refugees, but then they send their companies to my countries and just pretty much destroy them. These are people who don't want to leave. These are people who have lived there for generations. And they are being punished because they happen to live in an area with an immense amount of wealth. And by the way, that wealth is not reflected in the communities. They're one of the poorest in the country when, before the Barrick Gold, they had their farmland where they could live. And there have always been mining operations. I'm not saying that, what I'm saying that the Barrick Gold is the worst one. So I want you to think about this, and I want you to keep this in mind, how these far-right parties in the global north love to complain about immigrants or refugees. Especially the audacity of Canadians, white Canadians who are colonizers, but that's a whole different thing. But I want you to keep that in mind. There's a reason why people have to leave. There are real material conditions. And the audacity of these countries lecturing us about environmental responsibilities and also talking about migration and refugees, while at the same time doing these things, is insane. It's just... Okay, let's continue. The Barrick Gold has been wanting to expand its operations since 2019. Do you remember when I mentioned the constant changes in the contract between the Barrick Gold and the Dominican government and how these changes always benefit the Barrick Gold? Keep this in mind because what the Barrick Gold wants, the Barrick Gold gets. Back in 2021, the Barrick Gold started to build another tailing dam in the Yamasá municipality of the Monte Plata province, near where the Osama River is born, which is the biggest source of water in the Dominican Republic. Different local activists, organizations, and residents in the area have been protesting since 2020. On April 29 of 2021, the Dominican National Police and SWAT teams went to attack peaceful protesters where several people were injured. And just a quick note, I found out about this because people from Yamasá messaged me and sent me the videos.
¡Ay, Dios mío! Ven, papi, ven, te lo tiro, no mira gente. Ven, 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 ven.
Comando.
The changes on the latest contract were approved last year by the current Dominican government, giving the Barrick Gold Corporation more land and the possibility of extending the time of the lease with the Dominican state. As I mentioned before, this is not a government issue, this is like a state issue because Dominican governments, regardless of which party they are, they have the same neocolonial policy. Today, the Barrick Gold is planning to expand its mining operations to an area of almost 32 million square meters, which will include the mountain where the Osama River is born. The Osama River, as I mentioned before, is the most important source of water of the Dominican Republic, meaning that the Barrick Gold could destroy the main source of water of thousands of families and will force more and more families to be displaced. Barrick Gold neocolonialism in the Dominican Republic. Let's get something clear. The Dominican Republic is not poor. The Dominican Republic is an overexploited territory. No capitalist company would go to a poor country to get wealth. Like if countries like Kenya, the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Dominican Republic, and Tanzania are poor, why would the Barrick Gold and other companies go there to get wealthy? And there's a lot of poverty and social inequality in the Dominican Republic, but that's because of neocolonialism and neoliberalism. The Barrick Gold mine in Sanchez Ramirez is one of the biggest and wealthiest in the world, and yet the region is one of the poorest in the country because of this shameless, cruel exploitation. All that I've discussed in this episode is a textbook definition of neocolonialism. Now, what can you do? Here's the thing. The Barrick Gold hates attention. I can see them coming to the comment section of this episode defending the mining operations and inviting me to come to see with my own eyes their clean mining operations and how much they have done for the community and that I need to do my own research. I know that because they have done that to me in the past. I did 2 episodes about this when I only had like 12 or 13 followers, and even though I had so few followers, they still came to my comment section. And by the way, I already did my research. I spent hours, days, and weeks researching and working on this episode. Barrick Gold hates attention. So, what can you do? Post about it and support the work of groups like Aquelarre Bonao. So Aquelarre Bonao is an anti-racist and popular feminist collective located in Bonao, the Dominican Republic, near the area where the Barrick Gold is operating. Their content is in Spanish, but use Google Translate. Don't be lazy. Also, on my Patreon, I have uploaded some free posters and pamphlets that you can download and upload on your social media. It is under like the free content, so you don't have to become a paying patron to get them. But if you want to become a paying patron, please feel free to do so as well. And also share this video with everybody. Let's make Barrick Gold mad by making any video and piece of media bringing light to their crimes as viral as possible. Thank you so much for watching. As always, don't forget to subscribe and comment. Let me know what you think about this episode. So I'm going to read the comments some of you left on my latest episode, which, by the way, the latest episode that I did was about the history of racism and xenophobia in the Dominican Republic. Thank you for creating this. As a proud Afro-Dominican American, I really appreciate this because as I attempted to better educate myself, my family, and loved ones, I get lost in the terminology, so this was really helpful. I hope you continue shining your light. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I can already tell from the hate comments that you're speaking truth to power. Thanks for continuing to educate. Thank you so much. That means a lot. Muy buen video, muy educativo. Thank you so much. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you for the education. These things need to be brought to light and people need to care. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time to translate and share the words of these experts with us. I found it extremely valuable in helping me understand the particular patterns of racism and colorism present in the Dominican society. Also extremely interesting in learning more about the period of early independence, the abolition of slavery, and its legacy. I am very much appreciate the discussion regarding the impact of Spanish and French colonialism in the island, American imperialism, and how the Dominican Republic was influenced since the Haitian Revolution. Thank you again for sharing this. So these were the comments. Thank you so much for the love, the support, and your comments. You can also find me on TikTok, where I am at the time of me recording this video. I have almost 9,000 followers. Oh my god, my TikTok community is amazing. I love you guys so much. And I'm also on Instagram, and I'm on Patreon, where I have a lot of exclusive content that I've started to create. Also a small virtual library for anyone interested, and it's free as well, but I also have content behind a paywall. Hello, this is Mango Editing here, and I also have a coffee account where you can invite me a coffee or a treat, but you can also purchase some stickers. This idea came up to me because some followers were asking about stickers, and I decided to, if you want to, you can order them there and I can mail them to you. So go check out my coffee account, and the link is going to be included, of course, in this episode's description. Thank you so much for your support once again, and this is Mango in the North.